Hello. Welcome everyone to Fun to Tester. Today we are going to discuss interview questions, which is a difference between the find element and find elements method. This question is important for a fresher as well as a experience. So you need to explain in detail with a multiple points what are the basic difference between the find element and find elements method. So we are going to discuss all this in this video. And before moving forward, don't forget to like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe Fundu testers. First, let's try to understand what is a find element method and how it works. So basically, find element method is for to find any element on a web page. So Selenium is given two different method, which is a find element and find elements method. So now when we need to use this method, so for example, let's say whenever we wanted to perform a unique activity, let's say there is a add to cart button and we need to click on add to cart button on a web page. So by that time we will go with a find element method, because it returns a single web element that matches the given locator strategy. So basically it returns only single web element, and we need to define a unique element for a find element method, and find elements method will return a list of web elements. So for example, let's say there are multiple web element present on a web page. If I'm writing, let's say /a, and there are multiple matching elements, so find elements method will return all the elements. Now I'm not passing a unique element. So what find element method does is it returns first element which Selenium finds, but here for a find elements method it will give us all the list of element. And find element method used when you have a certain locator identify a unique element. So when you know there are the unique elements present, by that time we need to go with a find element method. And find element method whenever we need to handle multiple elements. So there are different return type of both the methods. So for example, find element method returns single web element. However, find elements method will return a multiple web elements, so which is a list of a web element. So let's see in a action with an example how it works. So for example, I'm going to the IDE, and here I am going to use a find elements method. So I need to write a driver dot find element. So here you can see find element and find elements method, and you can see the return type as well. So find element is returning a web element, however find elements return a list of web element. And you can see here the small m signature, which means both are methods of a Selenium library. So as of now I am selecting a find element, and here we need to specify the element. So for example, let's say we are going to the google.com, and we need to write something on this search bar. So if I inspect this, so here I can see there is a unique value which is a name is equal to q. So I can directly use this by dot name, and here I need to pass a q. And let's say I wanted to enter something. So let's say I wanted to send keys. Send keys again is a method. So send key, and I am trying to search Fundu testers. Let me add print statement as well. Unique element found, and I am going to run this test. So let me run this. The test is running. It is going to, and it enters. And here you can see it has completed the entire action. Let me run without a quit method so we can see, because it stops very quickly. And it has entered a Fundu tester. So now what if I am passing a dummy element? So it will throw an exception. So for example, let's say I am copying this method, and here I am using this, and instead of element q, I am passing a dummy element which is not present, and here it should throw an error message. So error message, it will not print, but let's run this. We are running this. It has entered Fundu tester, and now there should be error message. So if we go to the console, here you can see no such element exception, unable to locate the element which is a name is equal to dummy. So script is not able to find this element. So if you are passing a valid element, then Selenium will perform the action, whatever action we wanted to do, let's say click or send keys or anything, and if you are passing an invalid element, then we will get a no such element exception. Now let's try same thing with a find elements method. So let's say here I am going to use a find elements method, and with a find elements I cannot use the send keys method because it returns a multiple list of a web element. So what I am going to do, I am going to store as a list of a web element, and this is going to return me a list which will have only one element. So let's say what if I need to get the size of the list. So here I am printing as out list dot size, so it will return me only one element. So let me copy this, let me comment this code, and now let me run this. So script is running, and here we are getting a one element. What if we are passing a dummy elements here, so invalid element, so basically it will return a list with a 0 element. So let me run it again. So here I am running, script as execution is completed, and here we will not see any error, but it is returning a empty list. So this is the major difference between the find element and find elements method. So this we have seen. For example, find element throws a no such element exception if there are no matching element, and in that case the script will fail, it won't execute further. And find elements method does not throw an exception if there are no matching element found, and instead of it returns a empty list with a 0 size. This video is sponsored by XLQ, which is a no code automation platform. So first let's see demo of a no code automation platform, and later we will perform a furthermore operations, and we'll discuss more about a find element and find elements method.
XLQ is a leader among continuous functional test automation providers and is trusted by Fortune 500 enterprises across industry verticals. XLQ's AI-powered codeless test automation platform has proven to achieve 3 times the productivity and reduce test maintenance by 70%. That translates to over 50% cost savings and enables alignment with your continuous delivery. XLQ brings the discipline, flexibility, and power of a conventional code-based setup into a codeless world. Automation-first, no-code capabilities make it easy for testing teams without programming expertise to develop automation in plain, natural English. The world is undoubtedly moving towards low-code, no-code, and cloud apps that present their unique set of testing challenges. Our game-changing technology, XLQ Live, drives digital assurance across enterprise and vertical industry apps. Give your testing verifiable acceleration. Sign up for a free trial today.
Now we will see what if we are not passing a unique element to the find element method. So how it works. So for example, let's say I'm going to the Flipkart, and you can see if I'm passing a /a, so it is showing a 385 matching elements. So let me go through the Flipkart and let me run the same test. So I'm copying this URL, and instead of going to the Google, we'll go to the Flipkart. So here I'm changing a URL, and I need to pass here, instead of a name, XPath, and we are passing a XPath as a /a. And let's see the first size of the element, number of element which we are going to get. So let me run this test. So test is running, and it has navigated to the flipkart.com, and we should see 385 matching elements are present. So now what if I'm going to perform, instead of this, I'm going to perform a find element method here. So instead of returning to the list, I'm going to store, I'm directly clicking on this web element. So here I need to use the find element, and then I can directly click on the element. So I'm using a click. This statement is no longer applicable, and let me run this test. I'm running a test, and it will click on the first element. Here we are getting another exceptions, which is a element not interactable exception, which is a fine element is not. Now let's discuss about efficiency and performance. Now you must have a question. So find element method is returning a exception if no matching elements are present, then why can't we simply use find elements method? Because the performance wise find element method is better. Why? Because it starts from the first node. It starts from the first node. Here it is starting from the finding that element, whatever element we have defined. And for example, let's say on a line number 10, here somewhere we are finding that appropriate element, then it won't go further down to look for that element. So once it will find a unique element, it will simply return, or it will simply perform some actions like a click or send keys. But what find elements method will do, basically it checks entire DOM, it try to find matching elements, and it will return the entire list. So it takes time, basically it is iterating throughout the entire DOM, entire web page. So that's why performance and efficiency wise, find element method is better. So whenever we have to perform some unique operations on an appropriate element, then we should go with the find element method, and we should provide a proper valid unique element. However, whenever we wanted to perform multiple operations, like we need to get all the data of a table, or we need to get a multiple links, for such scenarios we should go with a find elements method. And key takeaways for interviews is, use find element when you are sure that element is unique and must be present on a web page, otherwise you will get an exception. Use find elements method when you wanted to deal with a multiple elements, and highlight the differences and return type along with the exceptions detail in the interview. So basically you need to tell the differences between the find element and find element method. What is a basically a definition of these two, and then what is a return type, what elements are not present during that scenario, you need to explain to the interviewer. And what if you are using a, you are not passing a unique element and still you are using a find element method, so how it works. So you need to explain all these 4 points to the interview. I hope it clears, and if you have any further doubts, feel free to ask me in a comment section. Thank you so much.